Here is a 2024 Nissan Pathfinder Rock Creek in obsidian green over charcoal interior. It's going to have some unique styling elements on the exterior. It's also going to have a reworked suspension. This was new for last year. No more CVT. Towing is one of the best in class, going against rivals such as Kia, Honda, and Toyota. I'm Anthony from Hawkeye Rides, and the off-road suspension starts off with increased clearance to nearly 8 inches. LED headlights and daytime runnings with LED fog lights. The satin aluminum is going to be on the lower, and the grille is going to be unique to the Rock Creek, so you will know this trim level opposed to other Pathfinders. And when you're comparing it against those rivals, it's not going to be the best in class for ground clearance, but what is the best in class is what's housed underneath this hood. A naturally aspirated V6, 3.5 liter, pumping out 11 horsepower more than the standard Pathfinder at 295 horsepower and 270 pound-feet of torque. That's paired to a 9-speed automatic transmission, and you have 7 different driving mode selects for the all-terrain, in which we have all-terrain tires set with these 18-inch beadlock styled wheels. It's a two-tone. I like that we get the flared out fenders, Rock Creek badging, and the side still bulges out with the Pathfinder badging. Everything is going to have the gloss black elements. Tubular roof rails with the crossbars. You can hold over 200 pounds on top of this, and because it's all-wheel drive, standard 6,000 pounds of towing, which is the best in class comparing to Toyota, Kia, or Honda. And you're probably wondering, well, it's probably going to be a gasaholic. Well, it's getting 20 mpgs for the city and 23 mpgs for the highway. LED taillights. I like how this is still boxy, and yet it has that off-road look, so it's going to be a little bit more square in the back, and a 360-degree reverse camera, front and rear parking sensors, so if you are taking this off-road, you have the capabilities to see all around the vehicle. Quick release, going into nearly 17 cubic feet of storage with bag holders on the side, and that's behind the third row. You have a storage bin that you can put dividers, so you can have about 2 or 3 areas to more or less maximize storage. Split fold the third row at a 60-40 split in the back that increases cargo to 45 cubic feet. You will have to go to the back door to fold down the captain's seats because there's no power seat adjustment. This is going to increase cargo to 80.5 cubic feet with more or less a full flat floor. It will sit up and the bumper comes out just a bit, but I like that it's plastic, so that way you don't scratch the paint of the vehicle. Let's go inside and start this thing up so you can hear that exhaust note. Ten-way power seat adjustment for the driver, heated front seats. You get the Rock Creek badging, cross stitch in the orange, Rock Creek right here, 4-way manual adjustment for the passenger. Headroom and leg room. The Pathfinder is a wide stance for the exterior and it projects on the interior. You get a storage compartment that's going to have the Pathfinder badging in front of the passenger. Contrast stitching comes onto the dashboard. It is a flat dashboard layout with the satin aluminum that's going to be surrounding both of the air vents. Gloss black elements will take over from this point on for the driver cockpit and the 8-inch infotainment screen with Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, Sirius XM, AM, FM, streaming, Bluetooth audio. Put it into reverse. We have a 360-degree reverse camera, full trajectory. Some reason the camera isn't working on this side right now, just probably needs to be programmed because when these are new vehicles, they go into a valet mode, so probably didn't finish the PDI. Going into the air vents, that has a tri-climate control settings. And here you'll have a large storage pocket with USB 12 volt, gloss black elements taken over yet again, and the key fob for the Pathfinder. Driving mode select, which you have 7 different driving modes. You will see it in the 7-inch gauge cluster for all the different driving modes that you can select. You can go through an array of information for the driver. Otherwise, the tachodometer is going to be analog, and this will also include the settings for the vehicle. 3-spoke leather-wrapped steering wheel, multi-function with adaptive cruise control, lane keep assist, and here's the steering assist button on the side. It does receive a pass-through, which gives optimal storage compartments for the fronts. No moonroof or pano or auto-dimming rear view mirror. Rock Creek is going to be soft to touch, and it opens up into a deep storage pocket in a area here that you could maybe put some change, some pins, and your business cards or anything of that. The door panel gets the same scheme that is found throughout the car, and it is soft to touch everywhere. One touch up and down for all the windows, and a large storage pocket with a beverage holder carved out. For the second row, headroom and legroom, captain seat, so it makes it a little bit more luxurious in the second row. Storage beyond both of the front seats, your third climate control, USB ports, cup holders, and a storage bin in the center. And if you need more space, you just simply pop this off, find the lever, and this will be removable. So that way you have a pass-through to go to the third row. And this will adjust, and you can also adjust these back to recline whenever you're going to the journey to take it off-road. The door panel will have a little bit less materials that's soft. So you're going to have that strip from the top portion, but here it's going to be soft to touch with 2 beverage holders carved out and another 2 in the lower. You can also adjust these forward. That way you would give optimal space for the third row occupants. To enter into the third row, push the button. It's going to slide forward, and you have a room for 3 more, which we're going to see how it looks. Feet space is going to be compromised because of the rails and the way this kind of projects. So when you slide this back, you can see for leg space, you have cup holders here on the side. The windows push back with air vents in the ceiling. Headroom is not bad. Slide into the center, and headroom will still be the same. Leg space is going to be tight, and to show you what I mean by those rails being pushed back, you will have to put your feet basically in the middle, and butt and shoulder space will also be compromised. So 2 adults over 6 foot can work in the back, but 3 is going to be questionable. 11 horsepower more than the standard Pathfinder at 295 horsepower, which is the best in class comparing to all of the competition. And the clearance increases. It's not by a lot, but you're right at 8 inches, 7.7 inches of clearance. It's still pretty good when you have the all-terrain tires. That also helps elevate the vehicle. 270 pound-feet of torque. How's the ride going to feel? Is it going to be better than Kia, Honda, and Toyota? Is really what we're looking for. So what we're going to do is stop right here. We're going to make sure that we have it into a sport mode so we can actually play with the paddles, because it is a 9-speed automatic transmission. And let's go. She's quiet because it's no longer a CVT as it was from the last generation. It drives a lot more smoother, and to see how it drives over imperfections in the road, we're gonna go a little bit slower because it is a pretty big dip right here, but handles pretty well. And even with all-terrain tires, you're not feeling all the gaps in the wheels or hearing a noise that is not pleasant like you would hear similar in like a Jeep Wrangler when you put larger wheels on it. So I like that they have done a great job with the sound deadening. And you got to also consider Nissan makes Infiniti, so some of the components are going to be very similar, and you can also notice that in the interior. And I would say that the only disadvantage there would be that you will be spending at least $5,000 to $10,000 more for the Infiniti, but you're also getting an extra year of warranty. Plus, interior is going to be designed a little bit different also, in which you would have a moonroof. Considering this is a box on wheels, I mean, it's pretty impressive when you're starting to think of what you're getting as a package. It's going to take me to some pros and cons, starting off with the pros about the vehicle. When you get the Rock Creek, you get the ground clearance, you get those tubular roof rails in which you have a platform, 220 pounds you can fit up there. All-wheel drive is going to give you 6,000 pounds of towing, which is the best in class. You also have the most horsepower in class. And I like the beadlock styled wheels. I mean, it sets itself apart opposed to the rivals. And yes, you can get a trail sport going for the Honda, and it's going to increase the ground height. It's going to change some of the exterior components as well. The difference here, though, is you have more power to drive you forward. They have increased the power, 5 horsepower from the prior gen, but it's still not to the level of what this is. Another pro is you get the captain seats, which you can take out that center cluster, so you have a pass-through, so it's easy access to the third row. It's going to be a little bit tight, but you can still more or less fit 2 people in the back. It's going to be tight, though, for 3. Cargo capacity isn't bad. You're around 20 cubic feet behind the third row, plus you have the storage bin that goes deep. It's probably another 4 or 5 cubic feet there. So tackling the all-terrain is good, and you could actually store that center console inside, similar to the Honda Pilot, which you wouldn't be able to do that in the Acura MDX. But when they did the refresh for the Honda Pilot, they made it a little bit more user-friendly in the sense that you don't have to take things out of the vehicle, meaning the center seat, and leave it at home. You can actually put it inside the cargo. You're not going to be able to option captain seats there, but you can make it captain seats by removing that center seat. It's a red light. We're going to see the performance now. As soon as it turns green, here we go. Going into some cons about the vehicle. Because of the price, I would have liked to see either a leather or a different type of material instead of a leatherette. And I don't necessarily mind the leatherette because it's, you know, something you can clean and it's durable. However, I would like to see something like Subaru does, where it's like a waterproof material throughout the interior of the cabin, because if you are doing anything all-terrain, that's the things that you're really looking for. I would have also liked to see in the cargo that they had maybe a reverse tray, so it would be able to store wet items back there instead of having to use this under bin in the cargo, only because it takes an extra step to do so. It doesn't feel sluggish when you push the pedal in sport mode, but when you go into eco, what Nissan does is they kind of hold the pedal a little bit, in which when you push it, it's not going to go right away. It's going to be eco mode. So you will have to either drive it in auto or sport for the most part in order for it to not feel sluggish. It's not necessarily a light vehicle, but it doesn't feel very heavy. As for the steering, it's going to be a little bit more heavy than pretty much every one in its rival perspective. But when you're thinking about doing off-road, I also like that because you can feel what you're doing, so you know if you're hitting something. Turn radius about 2 lanes. More soft materials are going to be found in this compared to all the rivals also. I'm not saying this is the best vehicle in class, but they do have a lot of positives that make this a heavy competitor against the rivals. And you get a 360-degree reverse camera. You don't have to worry about a trail camera because you can see everything. Plus, you have blind spot monitoring, lane keep assist, adaptive cruise control, front pedestrian detection, rear cross traffic alert. They're taking care of you with all safety, in which you don't have to option extra packages. You get that more or less as a base trim. Another con, the passenger seat does not receive power seat adjustment. And when you're over 45 grand or between $45,000 and $50,000, you're starting to expect some more luxury amenities. You don't receive a wireless charging pad, nor do you get wireless Apple CarPlay or wireless Android Auto. But when you're looking at the segment that it's at, to get something comparable to this, you would still be spending anywhere from $5,000 to $15,000 more going with the competitors. And it's sad that the rivals would force you to go to a higher tier to get something that you don't have to go to a platinum tier when you're in the Pathfinder. And if you go to the platinum tier, you're going to basically be getting an Infinity discounted by about $10,000, if not more, if you're looking at package to package. Because when I bought my QX60, nearly 70 grand for a fully loaded vehicle. And the biggest problem that I have is this touchscreen. It's small, it should be at least a 9-inch, and you could move it down to configure it a little bit more seamless, because the push button start has been moved up from the Infinity, because that's in the center. So just something that, I mean, it might be just a personal thing, but anything that's these sizes for this long of a vehicle kind of leaves an eyesore. But let me know your thoughts in the comments. And if you're new to the channel, consider subscribing. Check out the next video, merchandise, website, and Instagram. Leave a comment and a like, and I'd like to thank Brandon Nissan for giving us this 2024 Nissan Pathfinder Rock Creek for our car review.